Arizona State big winners tonight over UC Davis, 48-14. Let's take you back for a look. In case you missed the entire game, Cameron Marshall kicked it off for ASU with a touchdown within 5 minutes of the game. What a way to kick off the season for the Sun Devils after they stopped the UC Davis Aggies with a huge sack by Vontaze Burfict, one of 3 in the game for him. Cameron Marshall gets his first of 2 touchdowns 5 minutes into the game. He ended up tacking on another one 7 minutes later. Aaron Pflugrad caught a 31-yard pass from Brock Osweiler 7 seconds into the second quarter, and Alex Garud, I should say, tacked on a field goal to make it 24-0 at halftime. And then Jamal Miles, first play from scrimmage, or I should say first play as a kick return, returns it 98 yards. The first kick return this season for the Sun Devils ends up being a touchdown run back by Jamal Miles. What a way to start off the second half for the Sun Devils and put them up 31-0. Aaron Pflugrad then caught a 13-yard pass from Brock Osweiler 7 minutes into the third quarter. Alex Garud tacked on a 25-yarder to make it 41-0, but UC Davis would answer. Nick April rushed for a 48-yard touchdown to make it 41-7. Argus Washington ran for a 1-yard rush to take the Sun Devils up 48-7, and then Josh Reich ran it in for the Aggies, and we get our final score of 48-14. So, what can ASU take away from this ball game? Well, I think defensively they did a fantastic job. Obviously, Burfict had 3 sacks. The rest of their defense combined for 2 more. They had 56 total tackles, and if I'm counting correctly, they had 7 first downs, and I'm pretty sure about 4 of those were from when the actual first-team defense was in the game. So the fact that UC Davis ended up scoring on us is not that big of a deal. Our backup defense was in. We're going to be good to go. We're playing Missouri next week, and we're playing Missouri without Blaine Gabbert. Blaine Gabbert obviously went to the NFL after last year. He had a great junior year after leading Missouri to play in Sun Devil Stadium. But Missouri's going to be without him next week, and I think that's going to be a major game changer. Blaine Gabbert was a great quarterback, and he's going to do fine in the NFL, in my opinion. But I think this Sun Devil defense is too strong for a relatively unexperienced Missouri Tiger offense here in Sun Devil Stadium next week. And the week after that, hopefully we can take care of Missouri. The week after that, we head to the University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana. And Andy said during the telecast that Ron Zook runs a pretty good program there, and he does. But, the Big Ten is a really, really tough conference. And when you've got teams like Wisconsin, who obviously dominated UNLV earlier tonight, you've got teams like Iowa. Kirk Ferentz is doing great things over there. Even though Ohio State has a whole bunch of sanctions against them, and Terrell Pryor is now gone, Ohio State's still going to compete in the Big Ten. Michigan with Denard Robinson, even Northwestern's climbing the ranks a little bit. So, I think I don't think Illinois is that great of a team, and I don't think they're going to be in the cream of the crop of the Big Ten for a while. And I think ASU can actually go in there and play them pretty well. I think last year we only lost to Wisconsin by 1 point, and a lot of people were thinking that we were going to lose that game by about 25 or 30 points. And I've heard some people say that the game against Illinois is going to be a really close one, but I think we can march in there and do some pretty cool things and hopefully get up by a few scores early. I'm going to take you through some second half big moments. Obviously, the opening kickoff return for a touchdown. Are you kidding me? That is huge to set your team up 31-0. What a way to make a statement at the beginning of the second half. Jamal Miles, obviously, with that 98-yard kick return for a touchdown. Absolutely fantastic. Brock Osweiler, 2 touchdowns, over 200 yards passing today. He did throw an interception, but that was off of a tip ball, and you know what? There's really not much you can do about that. It might not look that great in his stats, but, Osweiler's got to be feeling pretty good about this game, even though he did end up limping off the field twice and the second time he actually had to get helped off the field by a couple of guys. So I think that really shows what ASU can come back with. You put a freshman in. You put Berkovici, the freshman, in at quarterback, and he ends up throwing a touchdown pass. ASU had some freshmen on defense as well after Burfict kind of limped off in the beginning of the fourth quarter as well, and they ended up playing the starters from UC Davis pretty well. So I think you've got to look at this game and say, we might have injuries, but we're going to be a pretty deep team. Andy and Kyle were saying during the broadcast, we have about 6 wide receivers that can make plays up and down the field, and that is going to be absolutely fantastic for ASU's future. And, ASU responded really well to both Brock Osweiler's and Vontaze Burfict's injuries, that's going to be a huge question for ASU this season is how can they respond? How are they going to bounce back from adversity? If they lose against Missouri next week, how are they going to bounce back from that? That is a huge, huge game next week. Win or lose, you get 2 wins right off the bat, maybe 3 if you go into Illinois, and you're setting yourself up for at least a bowl season, if not a run for the Pac-12 championship. If you end up losing to Missouri and then maybe not focusing enough on the Illinois game, that could really hurt them. Or what if you lose Osweiler? What if you lose Aaron Pflugrad? What if you lose Vontaze Burfict? Guys behind them will have to be ready to step in. And it'll be really interesting to see how ASU will respond to that. But luckily, we got to see a good game tonight, 48-14. Elsewhere in the sports world, I've got some Major League Baseball scores here for you. Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim beat the Seattle Mariners 4-3. Phillies knocked out the Reds 6-4. The Athletics beat the Indians 7-0. Dodgers defeated the Pirates 6-4. Blue Jays took care of the Orioles 8-6. The Cardinals swept the Brewers 8-4, which means that in the NL Central, Milwaukee is now 7.5 games up, which, after a sweep, it makes it seem like it should be a little bit closer. But Milwaukee still with a pretty intense edge over the St. Louis Cardinals. Royals beat the Tigers 11-8. Braves took care of the Nationals at home 5-2. The Yankees ended up taking the Red Sox 4-2 after losing last night. That means the Red Sox are only a half game up in the AL East now, although whichever team pretty much comes in second in that division is probably going to get the wild card in there. Mets took care of the Marlins 7-5, and the Rangers also defeated the Rays 7-2. So those are your Major League Baseball scores. Thank God the Cubs did not play tonight, my hometown team, because they probably would have lost again. They're like, what are they now? 24.5 games back. Only 21.5. Either way, you know what? It's rough. It's absolutely rough right now. Anyway, that's it for this ASU football postgame show. Thank you for listening. I'm Pearce Bley. Shout out once again to my boys in the booth, Kyle Schenk and Andy Sukoff, for calling a great game tonight. ASU wins it 48-14.